So it must be great to bounce back into the club after a win, Lepper.
It is. Smiles on faces, which is good, and look, the mood around the place has been pretty good, irrespective of win and loss. But it's always a bit nicer to get some reward for effort.
The intensity, I suppose, from the opposition especially ramps up this week. Crows are fighting for a top 8 position. What are you expecting from now?
Our back 3 games are pretty tough. All finals teams that are jostling for position. So yeah, so the challenge with our boys is to concentrate whilst we don't have the same, I guess, carrot as those teams we're playing. So look, I'd like to think our just pride in performance is the number one for us. We don't want to be blown away. We want to finish the season off strong.
What do you make of that? I mean, I played the Bombers team that was sort of lacking spirit and whatever else, but what did you make of them last week? And they were pretty awesome the way they smashed Essendon, weren't they?
Yeah, look, not just last week. They've been against Richmond also. They've had some really big wins. Our performance against them up here at the Gab was actually pretty good. Just a really bad 7 or 8 minute patch in the last quarter, and you know that game could have gone the other way as well. So we feel we've got some things that you know, from learnings from last time we played them, that if we can fix them up, the game can be tight.
They're as good a contested ball team as there is in the comp, Lepper. Is that an area that concerns you?
Well, that little 7 minute patch last time we played in the last quarter was all stoppage scores, contested ball stuff. So you know, we did really well for 110 minutes of that game, and 10 minutes tore us apart. So it's been a bit of an end. It was the same last week too against Carlton. The end of that first quarter, in 10 minutes they kicked 5 stoppage goals as well. So just the concentration needs to be up for the whole game.
What's the benchmark for you for the next last few rounds of the season? Like, or is it just about the playing group bringing 100% of intensity?
Look, our benchmarks won't change from what we want to get out of the game statistically. I mean, if it's one of those ones that the man in the back of the stands can see, hopefully our supporters can see that. I think that's the most important thing our players can bring, and hopefully that means we can limit mistakes. I mean, if you bring effort, it's all about who makes the most amount of errors in a game. So you know, bring the effort, limit the mistake rate, anything can happen.
There's been a focus on backing up last week. I mean, probably not too many times this year where you guys have put together 2 pretty decent performances back to back.
Well, only 2 wins were back to back this year, so apart from last week. So, look, no, they're not the sorts of things you discuss in the hallways. You tend to talk more about the specifics of the opposition and what we need to do to beat them. That tends to be the weak process. We don't use sort of generalisations of like backing up and things like that. It's more about things like stoppages, how to specifically beat the opposition.
From the outside, just on stoppages and contested footy, they're terms we hear all the time, but how directly relevant are they to winning for the layman?
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, you win a stoppage, the ball goes 50 metres your way. That's how important they are. And then if you win the ball back, you're starting from a long way back, aren't you? Your attack as well. So that's why they're important, because you know, they give you field positioning. So that's why stoppages are so important.
How do you get that same ball movement last week that we saw gave you 17, 18, 20 goals? Is that attacking sort of mindset? How hard is it to keep that against a team that's going to have a lot more pressure on you?
Yeah, well, that's it. It's been able to attack as well as we have been the last few weeks with better opposition. That's going to be our challenge. And that sometimes when the opposition defend a little harder, it takes a bit more courage to go for it. So that's where we'll be tested, and hopefully we can, you know, we can pass that test, because we've seen if we pass the test, we move the ball pretty well. So that's a challenge for us.
TV rights, what are your thoughts?
TV, great, thank you. Who's happy with it here? TV rights, who's not happy? So no, it's fantastic, it's great. It's good that they're focusing on coaches with the money is that right? With the money they're getting for it? No, it wasn't part of Gill's brief, unfortunately. But look, I think it's great for the game that we, you know, get more money coming in. Hopefully it can, you know, a lot of it can go to the clubs, really. I mean, I know players always need to get paid out of it, but there's so many things within clubland that need to be fixed up, and clubs to have steady stream of income for longevity of the game and the future of each football club. So I'm sure that'll get looked at, but it's a highly important one, I think.
Especially important for you, I suppose, for the club, that you can go into the training and admin base, you can go into the footy club spend, footy department spend as well.
Yeah, look, we spend $2 million under the soft cap of what every other team spends in a football department, and also don't have a training and admin base. We don't have the massive big hangar or anything like that. So there's some things that we need to get off the field in a footy club that obviously money buys. There's things that money can't buy that we can fix ourselves, but there's things that money can only fix that we need here as well. And we're not the only ones, I'm sure there's others. So there's some things in the background that hopefully the industry understands that needs to be evened up, so the playing field gets evened up as well.
You're one of the coaches that heads a team in a league-orientated state, I suppose. I mean, was it encouraging to hear some of the power of murder? So that, they're the premium game.
You don't see Rupert a lot, do you, in front of the TV? No. It's great to see him out in front. And it's glad he's supporting our game as much as he has. The media is such an important part of what we do. So, aren't they, Davo?
Do you expect to be flying by the time the new TV deal kicks in?
What do you mean, our team itself?
Yeah, your team.
Look, let's hope so, because there's going to be 4 pages on the back of the Courier Mail apparently. So hopefully we're up and flying by 2:17. That would be nice.
What are the unique challenges, though? When you come into a state like this where loyalties are very much divided between the football codes, as opposed to the south and sort of west of the Murray?
Look, I think one thing about Brisbane is a special place as far as what we have got. I mean, every state's going to be a little bit different, but we provide so much more. I think because we are the one team in Brisbane, I think there's a lot of benefits we have that the Melbourne teams don't have. But the one thing we don't have is the long history and the die and ditch supporters that keep a lot of those clubs alive through coteries and things like that. So through these tougher times like us, like we're going through right now, it often can affect your bottom line. So we just have to make sure that a club's in a position that win, lose or draw, we can be competitive over our long history, and that's the most important thing.
So the increase in the deal in the last 2 have been astronomical, and a lot of that's down to the fact that the game's expanded into Queensland and New South Wales. I mean, you almost feel, well, I don't know if vindicated is the right word, but often sometimes you feel like down south Queensland footy is a bit of an afterthought. Well, sort of here's proof that it's pretty important to the grand scheme of things.
Oh, look, I think if we want to grow our game, the most important thing we can do is make it strong in our whole country, first and foremost. And it does fluctuate in Queensland and in New South Wales, so we need to make sure it's solid and strong, and all the teams up here are solid and strong. So that's highly important. But yeah, when you've got majority of the teams based out of Melbourne, a lot of them are ex-VFL teams, and the AFL headquarters is in Melbourne. So so it is obviously, you can drive down the road if you're at Richmond or Carlton and talk to the AFL. We have to fly down. So yeah, it does make it a bit harder at times. But I'm really confident with Gil and the AFL. They've been up here a lot, and they're really conscious of what we need to do to get this club right, and get it right for a long history, not just come up, win some premierships and go back to the bottom again. We don't want to do this again.
As far bigger picture, trying to strengthen the code up here, do you think some money, it would be nice to see some extra money of that money go to, say, the academies, or something that can help sustain the growth of the game longer term? Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the right way to spend the money in Queensland is. I would have thought it is on, mainly the kids, getting them through, playing them sport. But I think there's wiser heads than me that can work that out, as long as it's well looked after and the game can grow and be self-sufficient. I think we should be the goal by the end of this period, the end of this deal, is that the Brisbane Lions, Suns are all self-sufficient up here in Queensland. That would be nice.